Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well today. I'm Nick Brandt, the product designer for Global Search Team, and I will be talking to you today a bit about our efforts around code search. So I assume that most of you are familiar with where you can go to do a code search in GitLab. But for those of you who aren't, when using the search within our top navbar, which is in that first image here at the top, and you perform your search, you'll notice that code is one of the first tabs available on arriving at the global search results page, seen down here. From here, users can search through a specific project or group to find code results within those specified repositories. So a couple of things regarding code search. So code is one of the most used search scopes in global search today, which probably isn't a big surprise to most of you. We also know that the experience of searching for code could be better. We have various issues that have both been created, internally through dogfooding, as well as from our customers regarding areas where we are currently not meeting expectations, as well as in addition, there are capabilities that we're aware of that are, needed as well as offered by some of our competitors that we haven't quite yet made available to our users. And so knowing that we want to put a focus on code search here in the future, and wanting to ensure that we're solving our users' most immediate needs first, we decided to start with some research. And this will really help us in identifying where we can add the most value and impact for our customers first. So I work closely with our researcher, Andre, to set up a series of 7 moderated sessions. And one of the main goals of the research was to learn more about our users' needs when it comes to code search. We really wanted to understand some of the tasks they're trying to complete when performing these searches. So for example, what are some of the reasons they're choosing to search in GitLab versus like their local IDE or vice versa? And once they find the code they're looking for, what are they typically doing next? The answer to these types of questions really will help us to identify ways in which we can solve some of the current problems they're facing with the jobs they're trying to do, as well as get them to the information that they're looking for a bit quicker. Secondly, we wanted to identify what information is most important to users within the results of a search. This way, we can ensure to prioritize that information we display in the results, as well as make sure any additional information that we begin to add in is actually valuable and validated with our users. Otherwise, we risk adding unnecessary clutter to the page, making it harder for our users to scan the results. We also wanted to understand, how could we best aid users in narrowing down their search results so they could find the results they were looking for quicker. So, today we offer a few options for filtering code results, and it's not really very discoverable to users as through syntax within the search field. So we needed to understand, not only what types of things that they were wanting to be able to filter by, but also how they'd want to be able to do that or expect to do that. And lastly, we wanted to evaluate how we are currently displaying code results in global search today and identify any opportunities for improvement. So although the majority of these sessions focus primarily on problem validation, there was a portion towards the end of each session that was a bit more evaluative in nature, where we gathered some feedback on the current experience as well. So through these sessions, we gathered a large wealth of insights for us to address. And the question really was, where do we begin? And so to determine this, I went through and I set up a prioritization activity with the global search team. We were able to schedule the first portion of this activity as a synchronous session with the ability for asynchronous collaboration following that. And to set up the stage for this activity, I first created a 2x2 matrix with the x-axis representing user value and the y-axis representing the level of effort. I also added sticky notes for each of the insights and linked each of those to the issues I'd already created in GitLab, where there was additional details that could be found, as well as links to Dovetail as well. I then worked with my PM, John McGuire, to stack rank those insights along the x-axis based off of what we heard from users during the research, as well as additional feedback we had heard from other customer conversations. And this ranking, could of course be adjusted once we brought in the entire team, but it was a good starting point for us to begin. We then got together with the whole team to review the insights. And although they already had access to Dovetail and the recordings and the insights, this gave us the chance to discuss it all together as a team, as well as build empathy together for the problems that our users are facing. Additionally, we worked with the engineering team to move those insights up or down along the y-axis based on general expectations regarding level of effort for development. Since concrete solutions were not yet really in place, and this was more of a rough estimation for us to use, it also allowed us to discuss various options that would have large impacts on feasibility or effort. And after going through most of the insights during our session, we were able to complete any that were left over asynchronously and made sure to capture any important details within the issues in GitLab. And really, the results of this activity just helped us to determine where to best start in addressing these insights. So looking at this image here, the top right corner of this matrix, which is highlighted in the image, represents the insights that offer the most user value while requiring lower levels of effort to complete. And so these are really the items that we want to focus on first. The items in the bottom right corner are also really high value, though they require a significant amount of effort to complete. And so these are items that we'll want to start thinking about and preparing for, as well as breaking those down into maybe some smaller iterative chunks for us to complete. Moving to the top left quadrant, these issues or these insights are ones that have less user value and also take up, maybe a little bit less level of effort as well. So they won't be prioritized quite as early unless they're more towards the right of that quadrant. Lastly, the bottom left quadrant, those items, are lower in value as well as higher in effort. And so these are items that are really the least priority, and we'd really want to do some further validation to even ensure that those are worth the time and effort to put into those. So overall, the prioritization activity went over really well with the team, and it helped ensure we were all on the same page as we were discussing these different insights that came out of the research. One thing that we're planning in the future for more work like this is we're going to make it even more so asynchronous, as it can oftentimes be difficult to ensure that everyone's able to make it to these synchronous meetings, as well as have their voice heard with the time differences that we oftentimes have. So based on our prioritization session, these are the first items that we are working towards and have actually started development. So the first one on here is searching across multiple repositories and projects. So this is something that came up quite a bit during the research sessions, where users are quite oftentimes wanting to search within a few different projects. And although we offer searching at the group level, this can still be a problem, as users may not want to search across the entire group, or the projects that they want to search may not be within the same group. So that's the first one that we're working to solve. Another one that we're working on is users want more information regarding when a result was last modified. So, when talking with users during the sessions around use cases for code search, they often mentioned how they were looking to find additional details around when the code they were searching for was last updated, and other details such as who made the change. This doesn't necessarily mean when the file itself was last changed, but that specific portion of the file. which actually can be found within the blame that we provide. In addition to these items, we're also preparing and breaking down some larger efforts. These items either require a significant change to how we index code today, or they require additions to what we currently index and store. So these issues have large implications, but by getting ahead of them and evaluating our options early, we can ensure that there are no surprises once they are prioritized for development. So what's next? We're going to be continuing to move forward with the code search insights, mainly based off of that prioritization activity that I just showed you. We've also gained some additional front-end help to assist us in implementing some improvements to the top navbar search field, as well as updates to the projects and group filters on the global search results page. Really to make locating projects and groups within those dropdowns a lot easier, because there's often issues today with actually finding specific projects or even groups today within those dropdowns. And really, that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions or want to follow up with me, don't hesitate to reach out. I've included my Slack handle below, as well as the global search channel that we use for communication. Thank you for listening.